What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. We're finally here, guys. The national championship matchup is going to be between the Georgia Bulldogs and the TCU Horned Frogs. This is going to be an interesting matchup, guys. Both of these teams came a long way. We all know Georgia's the defending champs from last year, and lost a lot of talent on their defense, but still feels a great defense this year, guys. A lot of people is talking about other teams possibly playing in the championship, but Georgia just buckled down and continued to dominate the whole season, and rightfully so. They're in the playoffs right now. They're coming off a very, very narrow victory against Ohio State Buckeyes, but this is a team, man. Like, you got to play all fourth quarters with them. If you don't, you know, they're going to come back. They're going to give you their all, and very, very good team all season. And they're going against a team in TCU, you know, start the season, I don't even think they was ranked at the beginning of the season, if I'm not mistaken. All they did was just dominate, continue to win, and find ways to win. Had a lot of close games, but always found a way to win. They have a chance to shock the world, guys. Everybody was counting them out, uh, especially against Michigan, and it was able to pull out the victory and shock the world. And you're going to have a chance to do it again. And I'm going to read off the stats, guys. This is going to be a good matchup, guys. I can't wait to watch it. We all know Georgia Bulldogs, has Stetson Bennett. This guy, what can I say? Hats off to Stetson Bennett, man. A guy that has been doubted all season. He's thrown for 3,823 yards. Really, really outstanding. And he passed for 23 touchdowns. He got 7 interceptions. So this is a guy, and he has a completion percentage of 68.1 quarterback completion percentage, and really, really good quarterback, guys. People can say whatever they want to say about Stetson Bennett. This guy has been, they call him the mailman, and he always comes through. He struggled a couple times this season, but he's efficient. That's one thing you can say about him. He's very, very efficient, and he knows how to run that offense. He can take off running. His rushing yards, he has 166 rushing yards, and he has, 8 touchdowns doing so. So, like I said, 23 passing touchdowns and 8 rushing touchdowns. So this is a guy, he can take off and run and know how to extend plays, and has greatly improved his passing downfield, guys. He definitely showed it against Ohio State in a game where most people would say, if he got in a shootout, would he be able to hang in there? But he definitely showed that against Ohio State, guys. So this matchup is going to be fun. I can't wait to see it. And he's definitely a guy that Georgia's going to have to rely on to win this game. But I'm pretty sure, uh, he's willing to take the challenge. Now, running back for Georgia, we all know Georgia always has great running backs. Leading rusher is Kenny McIntosh. He has 779 yards, and he has 10 touchdowns on the season. And he's averaging 5.5 yards a carry, so that's really good. They also have Dejon Edwards. He has 739 yards, and he's averaging the same average as Kenny McIntosh with 5.5 yards a carry. He has 7 touchdowns. They also have Kendall Milton, who has 559 rushing yards, and he's averaging 7.5. So he's averaging better than Kenny McIntosh and Dejon Edwards. So I expect him to get some carries in this game as well. I think they're going to rotate like how they normally do, and either one of those guys are capable of getting some yards, guys. And like I said, Georgia is a running back stable. As long as I can remember, they always been good with running backs. And he has 7 touchdowns as well. So Kendall Milton. So Georgia's capable at the running back position. Tight end. They got some big tight ends, guys. Now, I know Darnell Washington, I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. I know they're watching him to see if he'll be able to play. But if not, they still have Brock Bowers, man. This guy has 790 yards receiving. He has 6 touchdowns, and he's averaging 14.1 reception average. So great big old target. This guy is a beast of a player, and once he get out in space, man, he can be a problem. And I think TCU gonna have a problem guarding this guy. Uh, he's a big target. He got deceptive speed, and I expect him to get some receptions in this matchup. They also have Lad McConkey. He's been battling injury as well. He got injured. They took him out the game, I believe, and I'm not sure about him, but they can get him back. He's a key cog in their offense as well with 674 yards. He's averaging 12.7 yards average, and he has 5 touchdowns. So that's another capable target if he's healthy. They also have Kenny McIntosh. He can catch the ball out the backfield as well, 505 yards, and he's averaging 12.0 reception, and he has 2 touchdowns. He can get downfield as well. So they also have Marcus Rosemary, Jack Saint, Kyrus Jackson, Dominic Blaylock, Arian Smith. I mean, Georgia is loaded at all the positions. Adonai Mitchell, they got so many guys, that's capable of catching a pass from Stetson Bennett. This Georgia offense is very lethal, guys. Very efficient. They get positive yardage. If you can't stop the run, it's going to be a problem, but they've shown this season that they can pass the ball as well. So this Georgia team, what else I can say? And of course, the defense is really, really good. We already know the guys they have on defense. They have guys like Javon Bullard, Keely Ringo, Lassiter, Stackhouse, Jalen Carter on the D-line. Malachi Starks. This defense is decorated, guys. And, they kind of struggled in the last game against Ohio State. We all know Ohio State is really, really good offensively. And I would like to think that Kirby Smart is going to get that side of the ball, ready for this matchup against TCU, who has a great offense. And speaking of TCU, I'm going to read off, their stats. We all know at quarterback, Max Duggan, this guy's a beast of a player. Came up second in the Heisman race, behind Caleb Williams. He's thrown for 3,546 yards. His completion percentage is 63.7. He's averaging 8.9 yards of average. He has 32 touchdowns with 6 interceptions on the season. Beast of a player. This guy wasn't the starter, actually, when the season started, for TCU. He came right in. I think Chandler Morris was the guy that was the quarterback. But Max Duggan got the start, man, and they never looked back. He brought a spark to the offense. Has been consistent all season, definitely a key cog in TCU's offense. At running back, they have Kendre Miller. He was injured in the last game. He didn't play that much in the matchup against Michigan. I'm not sure of his status on this matchup, but he's their leading running back. And he has 1,399 yards rushing. He's averaging 6.2 yards on the ground. He has 17 touchdowns. This guy is a player, guys. If TCU can get this guy to play in this matchup, Georgia's going to have their hands full, this guy. Despite, Ohio State didn't really run the ball against Georgia, but they didn't have to. They was able to pass the ball over the field. So if TCU can get Kendre Miller and they can pass the ball and have success passing the ball, Georgia's going to have their hands full. We all know Georgia has a great defense, but they should have been able to shut down, in my opinion, Ohio State, and they wasn't able to do that. So they had some weaknesses in the secondary. So that, with conjunction with, a great running back in Kendre Miller, this game could be, must-watch TV, guys, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Also, TCU has Quentin Johnson, wide receiver. He has 1,066 yards on the season. He's averaging 18 yards of reception, and he has 6 touchdowns. They also have Tay Barber, 605 yards on the season with 5 touchdowns. Darius Davis, he has 430 yards on the season with 5 touchdowns. Savion Williams, 392 yards on the season with 4 touchdowns. Like I said, even Kendre Miller out at receiver, he only has 116 yards, but he's capable of getting out in the backfield. So this TCU team is pretty good offensively, guys. We all know Garrett Riley, is Lincoln Riley's younger brother. He's doing a heck of a job calling plays for TCU. And Although when you look at the score against, Michigan, TCU didn't score 51 points, but they still have one of the best offenses in the country. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, guys. Something's going to have to give, And I'm going to read off the points per game. TCU is averaging 41.1 points per game. Georgia's averaging 39.4. So TCU has a slight advantage. It's slight, but they have a slightly better offense, it would seem. But like I said, Georgia has a great offense as well. Points allowed per game, TCU is allowing 25 points a game. Georgia is only allowing 12.8. So we all know that Georgia defense has been playing at a high level all season. It's very, very hard to run on Georgia. So TCU is going to have to find a way to generate some yards on the ground if they want to win this matchup. But like I said, against Ohio State was able to pass the ball and not really run the ball as much. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Total yards. TCU is averaging 474 yards a game. Georgia's averaging 494. So if you were to break that down for TCU, they're getting 269 through the air, and they're getting 204 on the ground. So very, very good offense. One of the best offenses in the country. And Georgia's going to be tasked with going against another great offense. So it's going to be imperative for the defense for Georgia to step up. Like I said, 494 for Georgia. They're getting 293 through the air, and they're getting 201 on the ground. So Georgia's a better passing team out the two teams. But TCU has a slight advantage, running the ball. But Georgia's right there at 201 on the ground, rushing the ball. So something's going to have to give in this matchup. Yards allowed. TCU is allowing 385 a game. So they're allowing 235 through the air. And they're giving up 149 yards rushing to opponents on the ground. That can be the doom for TCU. Allowing right at, to me, 150 yards on the ground is a sweet spot for a team to get in a game. And they're right there at that. And Georgia, we all know Georgia can run the ball as good as anybody in the country. Georgia, on the other hand, they're giving up 292 to opponents. They're giving up 215 through the air. And they're giving up 77 on the ground. Like I said, that Georgia run defense is really, really good, But they're going to be tested. TCU is not going to abandon the run. They're going to try to run the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the matchup. And we all know TCU has had a lot of close games this season, but they always found the way to win. The most recent loss, like I said, was the Kansas State, team that they beat early on in the season. But Kansas State is a pretty good team, and they came in there and beat them in the championship. So TCU still was able to get in the playoffs, even though they took that loss. But they deserve to be in the playoffs because they've been consistent all season. Like I said, they're coming off a victory against Michigan, 51-45. Like I said, they didn't put up 51 points. Their defense stepped up and got 2 pick sixes and ran it in for a touchdown. So that's going to be interesting to see, against Georgia. Stetson Bennett can't afford to turn the ball over in this matchup because TCU has a defense. And I'm going to be honest, guys. Michigan, in my opinion, had the better defense between, Michigan and TCU. But TCU has a scrappy defense, guys. I know they give up 25, but TCU is pretty good, at, playing defense. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. They're a little scrappy on defense, so they got some ball hawks in the backfield, so Georgia's going to have to be careful when passing the ball. But like I said, giving up 150 yards, that's going to be interesting against this Georgia offensive line. So, like I said, with Georgia, had a couple of games here and there where they struggled, but I'm just going to talk about the most recent games. Like I said, in their championship game, they beat LSU 50-30. LSU is a team that's clicking right now. They just had a good game against Purdue. I know a Purdue team that wasn't at full strength, but still LSU still put up some good points. So they did it against that Georgia defense. And, I was thinking, Georgia, kind of took their foot off the gas defensively and stuff like that. But come to find out, against Ohio State, like I said, Georgia beat them 42-41, but Ohio State was able to air the ball out. They completely torched Georgia's secondary. So Georgia's going to have to clean that up in this matchup against TCU. And like I said, a TCU team is really, really good offensively. I'm looking at the spread for the game. Currently, as I'm watching it right now, it's at 12.5 points for Georgia. My prediction for this game, I got Georgia winning this matchup. Um, I think Georgia's going to be too much for TCU, especially coming off that game that they had against Ohio State. In my opinion, Kirby Smart and his staff is really, really good at making adjustments when they have time to study a team. And I think they're going to beat TCU, guys. If I had to give a score, like I said, it's 12.5 points. I'm thinking somewhere between, I want to say, I got Georgia winning. I got them winning 38 to. Let's see. I say 38 to 24, guys. I think Georgia's gonna win big. Um, I think they're gonna show some blitz packages that's gonna be able to get to Max Duggan. Max Duggan does have the ability to run out the pocket better than C.J. Stroud, so that's gonna give TCU an advantage. But I think Georgia's just gonna be too much. Like I said, the game, spread is at 12.5. I think Georgia's gonna win big. I mean, I think Georgia want to make a statement and go back to back, and show the college football world that they're here and they're not trying to go anywhere. And like I said, they did a phenomenal job all season, and I don't think they're going to be denied. I think they're just going to come in here locked in. They're going to buckle down defensively, and they're going to shut TCU down, guys. I got them winning 38 to 24. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. TCU could shock the world and be the first Big 12 team to win in the college football era. But I just have Georgia winning this matchup. I think they're hungry, and I think they're going to pull it out. But what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And once again, guys, if you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll definitely be back with more college football content. Thanks, guys, and roll tide.